Good morning, readers. Well, today is launch day for Endowed with Death, book number 8 in the Kenzie Kirsch Medical Thriller series. So, if you are looking for a strong female lead in an engaging medical mystery, if you love crime and forensics and oh, just thrills and chills, then check out this series. In this particular book, then Kenzie is looking into the death of a child. So be warned that that is the subject matter before you pick it up. And she is trying to find justice for this child. And of course, things get more and more interesting and worrisome the more she digs into the case. So check it out today. Kim says, "This mesmerizing tale is sure to keep you up late reading just one more chapter until you come to the realization that you are not going to put this book down until you have finished the very last sentence." Candy says, "What a great book and a wonderful series. The clues kept me guessing as to who done it. The intrigue kept me reading at every available opportunity." Thank you, Candy. As usual on launch day, I would like to do a short reading for you from Endowed with Death, book number 8 in the Kenzie Kirsch Medical Thriller series. Kenzie's ringer sounded. That wouldn't have been unusual, except that she had turned it to silent mode during their visit with Lauren Peterson and his partner Patrick Parker. The ring wasn't just her generic ringtone, but the urgent trill that meant it was a work call, and it was programmed to bypass silent mode so that she couldn't miss it. Zachary's head went up, and he looked at her, dark eyes surprised. "What's that?" He knew very well it was her ringtone for the medical examiner's office. "Sorry," Kenzie apologized, standing up from the breakfast table. "I need to take this." "You're not supposed to be on call today," Zachary objected, as she hurried away from the table. "I know that," Kenzie snapped, which meant that something serious was going on. A mass casualty event? What would justify Dr. Wiltshire calling her when she was supposed to be off all weekend for their visit to the Petersons? She retreated to the guest room she and Zachary were sleeping in, pulling out her phone and swiping the answer slider so that it wouldn't go to voicemail before she had a chance to pick it up in private. She closed the door and raised the phone to her ear. "Kenzie here." "Kenzie, sorry to call you on your weekend off," Dr. Wiltshire apologized, his voice sounding stressed. "Believe me, I didn't forget you were supposed to have the day off today." "What's happened?" "The perfect storm. We have an autopsy that needs to be done right away. Urgent political pressure, which is fine. Normally that would not be a problem, and I would just take care of it." "Right." He was a well-trained, experienced medical examiner, the man who was teaching Kenzie everything she needed to know. There was no one better qualified to do the autopsy, especially one that apparently had political repercussions. "The thing is, I broke my hand." "What?" Kenzie heard her own voice go up several notes higher than usual. "How did you do that?" "Stupid accident. That's not important right now. What is important is that this autopsy cannot be put off, and I'm sidelined. I haven't had a chance to line up someone who can do overflow work for us while my hand is healing, and they want it done now." "Yes, I understand. I'm sorry about your hand. I guess I'll say my goodbyes here and get packed up and come back. I'll be a couple of hours." Kenzie ran one hand through her long spiraling curls. "I apologize. It shouldn't have happened. You need your downtime, but—" "It is what it is," Kenzie agreed, shrugging. He couldn't control the fact that he was getting pressure from above to do the important autopsy immediately, and he certainly had not planned to break his hand. How bad was the break? He could be out of commission for anything from a few weeks to months of healing and physio. Or if he were unable to regain full use of his hand. Her stomach plummeted at the thought of his having to leave the medical examiner's office. "I appreciate it, Kenzie. I'll be here to provide any assistance or advice. I just can't do the manual work." "Okay, I'll see you in a few hours then." Kenzie terminated the call and looked around the room. They hadn't brought much with them. They had only stayed over one night, so Zachary would have time to visit his sister Joss as well as the Petersons. Lorne was an old foster father of Zachary's, the only parent he had stayed in touch with over the years, bonded by a love of photography and Lorne's dedication to a lost and broken boy he thought he could do something for. Rather than immediately telling Zachary about having to return to Roxborough and pulling him away from the discussion with his chosen family, Kenzie started packing. Pajamas, Zachary's meds, and charging cables went into the suitcase. The door opened and Zachary peeked in. "You're off the phone?" "Yeah." Zachary looked at her for a moment, then down at the suitcase. The smile disappeared from his face, replaced with an expression of concern. "What happened?" "They need me to come back to do an autopsy. Something urgent. Dr. Wiltshire broke his hand." "Oh, no." He sounded immediately concerned for Dr. Wiltshire, which made Kenzie feel guilty because she'd expected him to be upset about cutting their visit short and had been prepared to defend herself, pointing out that she had no control over the circumstances. "Is he going to be okay?" It sounded like it. He said he'll be waiting for me at the office, so he must not be at the hospital. The morgue was in the basement of the police department building, not at the hospital. "I'll find out when I get there. I didn't ask for details." Zachary looked around the room. "Do you need help with anything else?" "I've got this. Check the bathroom to make sure neither of us left anything in there, and I'll make apologies to Lorne and Pat." "It's fine. They understand that sometimes things come up you can't exactly control when people die." Kenzie appreciated the support. He was being understanding and supportive. But she was angry. It was the first time in a year that she'd specifically booked off a full weekend for some downtime with Zachary and his family. She couldn't blame Dr. Wiltshire for the circumstances, but she was ticked off and wanted someone to take it out on. She closed the suitcase, which was soft-sided and did not respond with a satisfying bang. "Let's just get ready." Zachary left the bedroom ahead of her and walked down the hall to check the bathroom while she walked the suitcase to the door. "I'm so sorry," she apologized to the two men. "I'm not supposed to be on call. Nothing was supposed to happen to interrupt me this weekend." "But things happen," Lawrence said understandingly. Pat nodded his agreement. "I'll put the coffee and travel cups for you, and I could make some breakfast sandwiches while you guys get ready." Kenzie looked toward the table where they had just started to eat the delicious breakfast spread Pat had prepared. She hated to leave so abruptly. Having Pat make it into sandwiches for them would take a few minutes and be extra work on his part. Still, the alternative was leaving all the food and not being able to appreciate his efforts. Her mother's voice in her head told her it was rude not to eat it after he'd gone to so much work. Sure, that would be lovely." Pat brightened at her words, obviously having anticipated that she would say no. "Great. It'll take no time at all. Just give me a couple of minutes while you put your bags in the car and say goodbye." Kenzie smiled and nodded. Pat picked up the ham, eggs, and other ingredients to make into breakfast sandwiches and retreated to the kitchen. "Thank you," Lawrence said with a smile, laugh lines fanning out around his eyes and mouth. "You made his day." "Happy to help, and it saves us from having to stop somewhere on the way for gas station snacks or fast food. My body and my taste buds will thank me for it." Kenzie gave the older man a quick hug as Zachary returned from the bathroom, holding up his empty hands to show that there wasn't anything else to go in the suitcase. Kenzie took the luggage out to the car, leaving him to say his goodbyes. So that is chapter 1 from Endowed with Death, book number 8 in the Kenzie Kirsch Medical Thriller series. As usual on launch day, Endowed with Death can be read as a standalone mystery, or it can be read together with the rest of the series. First book in the series is Unlawful Harvest, which is Kenzie's origin story when I spun her off into her own series out of the Zachary Goldman mystery series, where she shows up as Zachary Goldman's love interest, partner, whatever you want to call it. And the two series do intertwine. You can pick up the first 7 books in the Kenzie Kirsch Medical Thriller series in one ebook multi-pack. Again, you can find that at my store at shop.pdworkman.com, Or you can also pick up the full Zachary Goldman and Kenzie Kirsch ebook series in one large multi-pack at my store. So check those out. Talk to you later. Enjoy your reading.